Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prayer. You know, you may be asking yourself a question at times. Is it really worth it serving the Most High and living for the kingdom? Well, I would throw the question back at you, is it really worth it being a pagan? Now, what I mean by that when I say that is you know, I noticed over my entire life, especially the past 10 years, that looking back now, that, you know, if you do the pagan Roman calendar, you know, you do the MON day and the T day and the FRI day and all this stuff, which I won't say the pagan days of the week anymore. If you notice that if you follow that calendar, you work, you know, 5 days a week and you have your weekends and you can feel holy 1 day a week and, you know, all this stuff, you know, it just seems like your friends list is larger and, you know, life is easier and blah, 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 blah. And if you keep the Father's true appointed times, such as today is New Moon Day, 7th month, Feast of Trumpets, and some people's keeping next month is 7th month. I'm not getting an argument. So next year they should weed that out, no problem, whether 13th month or starting fresh. You know, all these people, and if you want to know more about the Creator's appointed times, you can click right there on that iCard link. But, you know, it has occurred to me, especially in this past year, like really working heavy duty out in the field for people with off-grid construction, and then what little time I have home to work on my own little tiny house to take, you know, it's occurred to me that, you know, even in business, I can't hardly get away from it, but it's like, if you do a pagan lifestyle, you know, because you have to understand, if you're a Christian, which many people watching this YouTube channel video right now, you're going to get offended by what I'm about to tell you. But if you ascribe to be a Christian and you worship on SAT Day or SUN Day, do a lot of the things that are of the world, you're still pretty much a pagan. I know that hurts your feelings, but, you know, I mean, it is what it is. If you're doing what the Torah says to do, then, you know, you're living the way of the Most High Yahuwah. So anyway, you know, if you stop and you wonder at times, is this the last generation? Am I living in the last age? All you have to do is look at the people claiming to be serving the Most High Yahuwah. And, I mean, you look at Scripture, what the people that used to be back in the day were considered pagans, and you look at the people of today, and you pretty much can conclude, hey, it's just a bunch of pagans. And I don't mean to be so offensive to everybody, and I don't mean to stir the pot with this video. I mean, like, literally, if it's a good wake-up call. Because, you know, before that I came to the knowledge of the calendar, who the true Hebrews were, you know, how to join yourself to the Most High Yahuwah by keeping His commandments. You know, I was reading Zechariah. I'm thinking it's the 5th chapter I was just reading. It says that in that day, many Gentiles will be joined to the Most High Yahuwah, to be His people. You know, to be joined in with the people of Israel. Oh, man, it's just such a blessing. But anyway, not to get off subject, you know, if you look at Scripture, and you see time and again, you know, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. And then you see the church house saying, well, yes, we know that's the way, but, you know, this is our doctrine. Ladies and gentlemen, it's either the doctrines of men or it's the doctrines of the kingdom. There is no picking and choosing. And, you know, living the life of a pagan is easy. I mean, you know, you can have your heartfelt, somewhat religion. I mean, you can do your work schedule, you know, you can have your friends, you can have your football on the weekends and drink beer and the next day go to church and, you know, not feel so drunk. And I mean, you know, you can just do it all. You can have the whole gambit of everything. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with alcohol, just moderation of anything, you know. But the end of the day, you know, when you go to serve the Most High Yahuwah, if you're not being persecuted, if it's not a struggle to keep Sabbath, you know, my phone always rings for business on Sabbath. Like, I mean, literally, I have to just turn it off and put it away because nobody calls me for construction services. When I tell them to, they always call me on Sabbath. Imagine that, right? I mean, it is not hard once you start serving the Most High Yahuwah to figure out, you know, am I doing this right? Because irritation will come. Persecution will come. Hindrances will come. You know, I'll be praying, and just something totally random will happen, you know, or a knock at the door or something. You're really in fervent prayer. I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, it's not hard to tell who the servants of the Most High is and who's not. You know, my son at times has requested, you know, me tell him things and show him things And then he'll go do his own investigative research because now I don't want to push somebody to do this or that. I want to push the truth in front of people and let them be their own deciding factor. But at the end of the day, I want all the options available on the table so you can do your own investigative research. And if a person does their investigative research like I done, you will learn real quickly if you're a pagan or if you truly love the Most High Yahuwah and you were just in ignorance. Because now, I believe in my heart I was serving the Most High Yahuwah, but I was ignorant to these things. Now, once a man knows that he's in ignorance, he can't continue in that. That's sin. Winking at ignorance, as Paul spoke of, it can only be for so long. All right, and so, that if you look at the church house today, another thing, people go, and I know I'm just all over the place with my thoughts, but it's just been compiling for a while. You see somebody go down to the altar at church house, they immediately expect that person next week to be the holiest person ever. Sin getting out of a person's life is a process, okay? You have to remember, we're born in a sinful world. You didn't grow up in a day. You didn't get a job and have a career in a day. All things in life. You don't have a marriage and relationship in a day. All these things take time. Getting sin out of somebody's life is one of the hardest things ever. That don't just happen overnight. That process of transition starts. But that cleansing and just getting that all gone overnight, man, that's a work in progress, people. All right, I don't stand in front of you and act like I'm holier than thou. I pray for me so I want to be able to stand before the Most High Yahuwah clean. I want us all to do that. But if you look at it though, just compare this for those of you who still are in Christianity, and might be on the threshold there. It's like, I know the calendar is different. That's in the Bible. I know that a lot of things that the church does, it's not in line with the Scripture. When you arrive at that point like I did, all you have to do is do a couple simple gut check tests with the clergy, with the church, and with yourself before you need to know if you're going to need to check out or just stay in pagan Christianity, okay? Because first step is study. Show thyself approved to the Most High Yahuwah. Teach yourself and learn and pray for His wisdom. Once you see that discernment, go to church and say, Pastor, why is it we don't worship on Sabbath? Why is it we don't do this? Then you will see and understand the heed to leave Babylon. All right? You can't, because it's easy for the pagans. It's easy for the people that's lost in religion that don't care about serving the Most High Yahuwah. Because you will notice there's a lot of people, they just go to church to feel good about being themselves. Literally, I think the only reason they go to church is just to be like, hey man, I went to church this week, so I know I can't be a bad person, And it's more, ladies and gentlemen, living for the Most High is a lifestyle. What you eat, what you think, how you dress, what you do. You gotta be different. People all the time, like the Scripture says, wear your seats, ribbon and blue belt. All the time people's like, hey, what's up with that? And that's an opportunity to witness. There's a reason in Scripture. Everything that it tells you to do, there's a reason behind it for your good and for the good of others. And, it's easy being a pagan. It is absolutely easy being a pagan. I look back now and I'm like, all I had to do was work 5 days a week at my job, go to church on the weekend, watch some football if I wanted to, hang out with some people, and just, be normal society. And life's easy. And then I noticed that immediately after I transitioned from that to keeping the commandments, to really trying to serve the Most High Yahuwah, that, you have repercussions of that. Family starts cutting you off, friends starts cutting you off, people think you're crazy, people think you're part of a cult. People can't understand why you worship this way one month and the next month it's a different worship day because it's a different calendar. People just can't accept that you accept that the true Hebrews are who they are and that it's not the people over in the land today, and yet they can see clearly these people are under the curses of Deuteronomy 28 that are the true Hebrew Israelites, and the only people meet that statute. And they understand why you don't eat what you eat, but they're like, oh, it's just all washed away. It's covered by the blood now, and yet you can't back that up with Scripture. And the list goes on and on and on. So it's easy being a pagan. But the moment you transition over to really trying to keep covenant, to do the statutes, commandments, and appointed times, all these things, ladies and gentlemen, you'll know real quickly when you've changed. It's like Robert Frost said. I was walking in the wood one day. 2 paths diverged, and I took the path less traveled, and it's made all the difference. Man, just look, Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith Yahuwah, stand thee in the old ways, ask and see which is a good path, walk there, and you'll find rest for your soul. I'm going to tell you, I've never felt so at rest in my being. I am physically just like exhausted all the time. Now, part of that's due to work, part of that's due to the world's persecution, and the other part of that is trying to get ready for what is to come. But you know, I am at peace with my life now. You know, the only struggles I have are internal struggles. You know, with sin. It's not an outward thing with people. You know, so you know, it's really an inner struggle thing. So, you know, once you conquer the world, then it's conquering of self. And then once you conquer yourself, man, it's game over for Lucifer. Because, I mean, there ain't much he can do to a man at that point. If he kills you, well, you're a winner anyway. And, so, you know, anymore, I just try to spend time with my wife and son and family and friends and just make the most out of every day, ladies and gentlemen, because you never know. I mean, you know, it's all winding down. And the trumpets, I just see them right around the corner. Otherwise, you know, obviously I wouldn't be prepared. But I really encourage you in this video. I really encourage you. You've seen my life for years on this YouTube channel. In between me showing you how to build things, I've shared my thoughts time and again on Scripture. You've seen my life transform, more truths come in, flat earth, you know, all these things. And I've studied it out, seen that it be so, and walked therein. And you know, I'm sure more truths are going to come present, you know, because men will run to and fro, knowledge will be increased, the end will come. You know, Daniel, Scripture, prophecies, and Daniel tell us this. So, I mean, you know, we're living in the last days, and I have never seen so much knowledge in front of us. And it's easy to be a pagan, because if you just shut that stuff out, you know, if you're like, I've got, you know, I'm good, I'm saved, blah, 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 I ain't got to worry about it. Man, if you live like that, I mean, that can get you by for a while. Really? No. That you can't live like that. Because if you're honest with the Most High, if you're honest with yourself, you can only continue that lifestyle for so long. Because now me, you know, people say, well, the Most High spoke to me. Well, I'll tell you how the Most High's always spoke to me. I felt a burning sensation in the heart of my chest. I've had heartburn before. I've had acid reflux. I've had all sorts of health-related burns. There's a different burn. It like sensates through the body. When I felt the need to leave Babylon, when I say Babylon, I mean the First Free Will Baptist Church I used to go to. When I left out of there, before I left, there was this deep burning. You know, I tried to present things to the elders. I tried to present things to the pastor. I tried to present things to the assembly. You know, there was no hope for that. There's a reason the Scripture says, come out of Babylon. You know, come out of her, my people. You know, whether it's a Gentile that, you know, the name of Master Yahuwah was called up on, or whether, you know, it's his people, his literal Hebrew Israelite people. I mean, there's a reason that he's calling everybody out of Babylon, because if you look, all these people that's in here that's claiming, yes, we're holy, yes, we're saved, yes, we're righteous, there's a problem, because either they're holy and righteous or you're holy and righteous. You know, they're doing the commands, or you're doing the commands. I mean, somebody's got some serious problems going on here, because, I mean, when the pastor at Babylon Incorporated over here is, you know, like, for example, a pastor is at the church house, and he says, hey, you know, we can't put up with homosexuality, blah, blah. Okay, everybody, after church today, we're going to have a barbecue out back. Everybody make sure to stay for the barbecue. And then they cook a rack of pork, you know, ribs. It's abomination. We're calling out abomination. I mean, like I said, it's easy being a pagan if you look at it all. Though there's just, you can tell the difference between the people, the Most High Yahuwah, and pagan Christianity, and then just the pagan world, the people of the world. And I encourage you to come out of it. I'm telling you, time is very short. As you can see, I don't make many YouTube videos anymore. My time is spent on things that you know are very important to me, such as making sure my wife and son and my family have a safe place. And you know, it's just very short. You need to be using that time wisely. And one of the most important, wisest decisions is to leave Babylonian Christianity, get back to the old past, and hammer down, because there's no other option at the end of the day. I'm telling you, you're either of the world or you're of the Most High Yahuwah. You can go to church and feel good about it, but at the end of the day, what them people are doing is not in line with Scripture. I mean, there's so many things in every church house you can find that are not in line with Scripture. There's a reason you're being called out of there. There's a reason the Scripture says come out of that. There's a reason to get back to the old past. Hope this has helped to you. Make sure to check the links in the video description below, as they can help you on your journey out of Babylon. Until we see you again here, Seven Trumpets Prepper Channel, guys, I hope you have a most blessed day in Yahushua name.